Imagine this. You walk into school one morning, ready to start your day, maybe thinking about your homework, your friends, or the weekend coming up. You're not in trouble, you're not skipping class, you're not breaking any serious rules. But before you can even make it to your first class, you're pulled aside by the principal and told you're suspended, not because of something you did, but because of your hair. That's exactly what happened to a black teenager in Texas. And what followed was nothing short of extraordinary. An entire town came together to challenge the rules, confront deep-rooted biases, and in the end, change policy for good. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened, step by step. We'll talk about the day of the suspension, the history behind these types of rules, how the community reacted, the rallies and meetings that followed, and the moment everything finally changed. By the end of this story, you'll see how one young man's courage and one small town's unity sparked a change that reached far beyond their school walls. It was a regular Tuesday morning in January. Daryl, let's call him Daryl Johnson, was a junior at the local high school, known for being respectful, hardworking, and popular among his classmates. He wore his hair in locks, something he'd been growing for years, a style that's deeply tied to his cultural heritage. But that morning, before he could get to first period, a school administrator stopped him in the hallway. He was told to report to the principal's office immediately. Inside, the principal explained, Daryl's hair length violated the school's dress code policy. The rule stated that male students' hair could not extend past the eyebrows, the earlobes, or the top of the collar. Daryl was stunned. He'd been wearing his hair this way for years. His grades were good, his attendance solid. He'd never been in trouble before. But that day, the school suspended him on the spot until he agreed to cut his hair. And here's the thing, he refused. To Daryl, cutting his hair wasn't just about following a rule. It meant erasing a part of his identity. That's when this stopped being just a personal problem and became the spark for something bigger. To understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to understand the history behind rules like this. Across the United States, school dress codes have often been used, intentionally or not, to target certain hairstyles, especially those worn by black students. Braids, twists, afros, locks, styles that carry deep cultural and historical meaning have been labeled as unprofessional or distracting. In 2019, a national study found that black students were far more likely to face disciplinary action for hair-related violations than their peers. And in some states, these rules have led to students missing weeks of school, being banned from sports teams, or even denied graduation ceremonies. This isn't just about hair, it's about identity, heritage, and the freedom to be yourself without punishment. When Daryl got home that day, his parents were furious, but not surprised. They'd seen similar stories in the news, but this time, it was their son. They contacted local community leaders. They called reporters. And Daryl's friends? They started posting on social media. Within hours, hashtags like #LetDarylLearn and hair freedom were trending locally. By that evening, the story had spread to the local news stations, and soon, it wasn't just Daryl's classmates talking about it. It was the entire town. The following weekend, a rally formed in front of the school board office. Students, parents, teachers, even people from neighboring towns showed up. They carried signs, "Hair is not a crime. Our culture, our rights. Let him learn." Some people spoke about their own experiences, times when they'd been told their natural hair was inappropriate or against the rules. Others connected the fight to broader anti-discrimination efforts like the Crown Act, legislation designed to ban hair-based discrimination. It wasn't an angry mob. It was a peaceful, determined crowd, and they weren't going away quietly. Under mounting pressure, the school board announced they would hold a public meeting to address the situation. The room was packed. Some parents defended the dress code, saying rules are rules, but many more stood with Daryl, They argued that the rule was outdated, discriminatory, and had no real impact on learning. Daryl himself spoke. Calm, respectful, and clear, he said, "I just want to learn like everybody else. My hair is part of who I am." The board listened, but didn't make a decision that night. Instead, they said they'd review the policy. Over the next few weeks, the pressure grew. National news outlets picked up the story. Civil rights organizations got involved. Petitions circulated online, gathering tens of thousands of signatures. And then, 3 weeks after Daryl's suspension, the school board called a special meeting. This time, the vote was unanimous. The dress code policy would be changed. No student would be disciplined for wearing their natural hair, no matter the length or style. The moment the decision was announced, the room erupted in cheers. Daryl's mother hugged him tight. Supporters clapped, cried, and high-fived. The battle was over, and they'd won. Daryl returned to school the next day, his hair exactly as it had been. He walked the halls with his head high, not just because he'd stood his ground, but because he knew the change would protect countless other students in the years to come. And beyond this one school, the story inspired similar fights in other districts. It became part of a growing movement to challenge unfair dress codes and embrace diversity in education. This story isn't just about a haircut. It's about courage, unity, and the power of community. One student refused to compromise his identity. An entire town refused to let injustice slide. And together, they proved that change doesn't just happen in Washington or in big cities. It can happen anywhere when people stand up for what's right. If this story inspired you, share it. Talk about it. And remember, change starts with just one voice. Sometimes that's all it takes.